Hello beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel Soul Journey. My name is Beck Ahimsa, and today is a little bit of an impromptu video. Hi Segment, what's up? I know the lighting is like, hi Turtle. I know I have 6 cats, for those of you who don't know. Feline energy is really important to my journey, if you haven't seen a lot of my channel. So I have a lot of cats. We commune together. Anyway, I know that the light isn't great, but I just kind of felt inspired. I actually have my TV on in front of me, so I actually have like a little light. And don't mind whatever's going on back here. Yeah. That is my beautiful saltwater tank, for those of you who have not seen it on my other social media. Slytherin! So I actually came on here because of a question someone just posted on one of my videos just a little bit ago today, and I thought it was really cool, and instead of waiting, I just kind of felt inspired to talk about it. Basically, they had questions for the Galactic Council of Light, but one of their questions was asking about me talking about the different groups that I have channeled, because recently I mentioned that there are some beings that I have channeled but I haven't like shared here on the platform who will be coming through. Some won't. I've had some really interesting experiences, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about the beings that I've channeled, because from what I've seen from views and comments and likes, a lot of people are really enjoying the channeled content, and they are excited about it. They're looking for more, and so I thought I would talk a little bit about it. So let's get into it. The first group I ever, no, hold on. See, the first group I officially channeled was the Feline Council, but I'd actually kind of channeled other beings before that. I guess there's a difference between like getting a message and then like saying it versus like actually like having the consciousness step back and having them speak. So that is a little different. The first being that I like actually felt like I think came into my body and kind of was like interacting. Also, different beings interact with my body differently. So lower dimensional beings, not like low dimensional beings, but like lower than like the higher councils, I often have a much more visceral experience with. It almost feels like they're in my body because they're almost like a more physical being, and it's almost like both of us are kind of like in the body at the same time, and I just kind of let them do their thing. But I can comment or do things, and they often move, and my eyes will be open, and they'll have a conversation with whoever is talking, or they're talking to, whereas the higher councils tend to just speak and head out. They don't tend to be super animated. So the first being that I ever channeled, this was before I started like channeling, was while I was in Australia, and that being is yet to be named. There's a little bit of I don't want to say drama around this being, but I'm still trying to sort out how I'm going to channel this being, because they definitely want to be channeled, but there are some things I have to work on before I share them. And so they were the first being, and I actually picked them up while I was in Australia. They came to me, and that was really intense because I could feel them outside of my body, and I could feel them as I was channeling them. So that was really interesting. Also because someone I knew had also channeled them. So it was a very interesting experience. But I don't really think I realized I was channeling at the time. In Australia and before Australia, I had connected with the Feline Council, my higher guides, but I had not channeled them. I would just step into space, just kind of like I would talk to my other guides. Hi, Burmis. And so they were coming through before I actually started channeling them. So a lot of these beings I had been in connection with first. So kind of moving down the timeline, I then really, like, the Feline Council was kind of just, like, always there. And then they were the first group I actually channeled. And because I am very closely connected to the Feline Council, soul stream wise, and they are like soul family to me. They're my, you know, galactic soul family, the Felines of Lyra. It was, I feel like they were guiding me into my channeling journey because they are my higher guides, and so it was an easy transition. And I think, you know, now that I think about it now, I feel like they were preparing me to be able to channel other beings, because recently they've kind of stepped back, and I know they're always around, but they aren't. It's like they're there guiding and watching me, but I now channel a lot of other beings. So they were the first ones to come through, and then very quickly, I think it was my second channeling, the Blue Avians came through, which I've only channeled a few times. I don't know a lot about them. I have soul family who is much more connected to them. One of my dearest soul sisters actually came in contact with them before she even knew what they were, but she didn't really even know if she believed the whole like extraterrestrial channeling thing. And then she was telling me about it, and I was like, oh, that's the Blue Avians. And she was like, what? And I showed her a picture, and she's like, oh my god, that being literally showed up for me. Maybe if you guys are interested, maybe I'll do an interview with her on that. If you're interested, comment down below, because her experiences with higher dimensional beings are pretty freaking cool. And like, mine have been really awesome, but like, hers have just been different from mine, and some of them have been very like palpable, whereas mine is very much like claircognizant, whereas hers have been much more like clairvoyant and more like in the space. So that's been really cool. But she's very clairsentient, whereas I'm very claircognizant, so I think they just come through for us differently. But yeah, very, very cool. So the Blue Avians have come through a few times, and then the Arcturians came through a few times. And what's interesting is each of these groups felt very different, and their voices come through differently. The felines are very charismatic, but they have this kind of like grounded, earthy vibe to them, kind of a tribal vibe, whereas the Blue Avians are very floaty, and they're very like ethereal. Ethereal is not the right word. Airy, I guess, and they're very much about harmony and music and things like that. And so there is this kind of like interesting vibe I get from them. They're very, it's hard to explain in 3D words. And then the Arcturians are very high dimensional, so they felt very like even more neutral than the other groups. The other groups are neutral, but they feel like they have more of like an identity, whereas the Arcturians felt much more like there was just this more neutral feeling about them, and just like this intense like high frequency feeling. And I think I've only channeled the Arcturians once. I've channeled the Blue Avians at least twice, and then I channeled the Feline Council quite a bit. So those are the groups that I really channeled first. And then I stopped channeling for probably a good year, because I was in such a channeling state all the time that I felt like I couldn't ground. I felt like I was literally high all the time. Guys, please be nice. And so I actually, I was doing some things, and they kind of cut out for a little while, and then they slowly came back. And what's really, really fascinating is, and this is what's so validating, is I just thought that like they'd cut out and were kind of like not around for a while. And then last July, I just had this urge to channel again. No, let's see. Before that, it's really hard. Like, if I go back on my channel, I can probably like look it up. But before that, the Galactic Council of Light did come through, which was really, really unexpected. God, I'm trying to remember the timeline. And they cut out for a while, and then like the Galactic Council kind of came through, but it was so sparse that like I wasn't feeling like I was like regularly channeling. Yeah, that. If you guys are interested, I have a playlist. You can go back and like look at the timeline. I didn't before this video, clearly. But the Galactic Council of Light came through very unexpectedly, whereas I thought I was going to just channel my normal group, and then like as I began to channel, I was like, this isn't the same group, and they actually stated as such. And then last July, my channeling just kind of like started up again. Like I hadn't channeled probably for like 6-7 months, and then it was just like, you're channeling now. And what was so crazy validating was I saw a couple of their videos online afterwards and actually connected with a few other channelers who said, yeah, you know, I either started channeling July or August of this past year, or it started up again for me. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I mean, we're talking like almost to the day. And they specifically said, like, we haven't come through in a while, we'd step back, and now we feel like we want to take a more active role in the evolution of your planet again, because of the collective asking. And again, if you're interested in any of these messages, you can head over to my playlist. It's Channeled Messages by Beck. I think it still says Gronsky. Yeah, so, that like started up again, and then since July I have been consistently channeling, and it's been mostly the Galactic Council of Light. And what's interesting about the Galactic Council of Light is, whereas the other groups and beings that I'd experienced, I had heard of them. The Galactic Council of Light was not a group that I was used to hearing about. Like other people may have channeled them, but like I hadn't like specifically heard about them, and so they specifically came through, and that's who I've been channeling mostly. And I get this sense that like the felines were like getting me comfortable, and then the Galactic Council of Light is actually a group that I will be channeling more frequently. It's kind of like the group that has wanted to like channel through me, at least for now, because I know I've heard a lot of channels talk about how they, you know, would channel one being, and then like there was like the being that came through, the collective that came through, that's like was like who they ended up channeling long term. And I kind of feel like the Galactic Council of Light is kind of like that. I do feel like they're being channeled by other people too, but I honestly don't know. It hasn't been asked yet directly. I'm really excited. And another reason I wanted to talk about this right now is we're kind of getting to a new phase with the channeling videos, where John Michael will actually be asking questions that have been commented on these videos. If you have any questions for the Galactic Council of Light, comment them down below, because next week we are going to be filming, and we'll probably do more than one. We will be filming a question and answer video with those questions. And I honestly don't know how they answer. Some of them, they may be like, you know, we're not going to answer that, or they might go even deeper. Like, who knows? That's not really my place to really know. But if you have questions, comment them down below. We're putting them all in a list, and we'll just kind of rapid fire them. I may do a specific video for the Feline Council, I'm not sure. And then there are some other beings, like I said, that original being that came through for me before I even channeled the Feline Council. I do feel like they are going to come forward at some point on this channel. I'm very, very excited about that, because I do know, pretty solidly, that I am the only one who is channeling that being. So that's really exciting, and they are pretty awesome. So I'm excited for that. And we'll see when that happens. But then I also have some of my soul family who are going to be doing kind of like a, like on Skype kind of question and answer with some of these as well. So they're collecting questions for themselves to kind of interview these different beings. So that's really exciting. A lot of this is coming to the channel very soon. I'll have to sort out how to do the online stuff, because I've never done that, but that'll be very cool. So if you have questions, you know, definitely, comment them down below, because those will be videos that we will be making very soon, and I'm very excited. John Michael was actually the first person I ever channeled and had a conversation with while channeling. This was literally like within the first couple days of us meeting. I'd only done channeling on camera, and they wanted to come through and talk to him. Oh, I feel like there's like other beings I'm missing. There was another being that I channeled right before I officially started like channeling with this guy that I was like briefly seeing. He had a being come through for him, and I kind of started channeling it, which was weird. I had a few days channeling Michael Jackson, which was an experience to say the least. I've toyed with the idea of writing a book about that, because that was that was an experience. We basically shared a body for several days. Yeah, that was an experience, and I've kind of kept that like close, because that was a very intimate and vulnerable and unique experience, to say the least. And he was just a very fascinating being to share a body with. I really feel like we had soul contracts to work through some soul healing for his that aspect of him when he was on the planet at that time. It was really powerful. So yeah, maybe I'll eventually write a book on that, because I feel like it's not just like a video, like it feels very like serious. So I've had a lot of really interesting. Oh, I also sort of channeled one of my friends' future partners, which we believe she's now dating. It's just been kind of like, when I think about it, I've channeled so much more than I realize. And it's just been like a really interesting journey. But those have been like the main beings. Of course, I can feel lots of spirit. I often am aware when people come, if we go by a building and I'm like, oh, that's there. And I've actually had it confirmed where me and John Michael drove by this building. I was like, oh, there are people who are stuck there. And we literally had the exact same people come to us. It was this guy and this woman, and they looked exactly like when they died. And so like I've always been really aware of that stuff. I've dealt with other extraterrestrials that I have not channeled. I will probably never channel. I'm hearing like, don't differentiate. You never know. I've come in contact with other extraterrestrial beings, through the mind's eye, but those were very intense and not fun experiences, to say the least. I did have a near-death experience while I was in Australia, where some beings came through, and there was an option to leave my body. So that was an interesting experience. If you guys are interested in that story, definitely comment down below. I've wanted to write a book about my year in Australia, which was a very intense year, and there was so much there, and I've kind of left that, because again, it was a very vulnerable experience, to say the least. I've kind of wanted to save it for the book, but then like I'm very aware that like I have not started writing them. I mean, I've written like a chapter for that book, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So I feel like holding those stories back kind of doesn't make any sense. So if you guys are really, really interested about my near-death experience, it definitely ramped up some very interesting energy and leveling up for me. So if that interests you, comment that down below. What's up, Artemis? What's up, handsome man? Oh, hello. Oh, my big boy. This is Bartimus. He's John Michael's. I mean, I would go as far as saying familiar, if not just John Michael in general. They are so in love. John Michael rescued this guy. He's such a big boy. He's like 14 or 16 pounds. He's the most lovey love bug. And then, well, my Isis is also a total love bug, but Bartimus gives the best cuddles. Hi, handsome man. You want to say hi to everyone? Okay. My cats don't like cameras. They're very not into it. Oh, hello, Lily. Oh, all my kitties. So yeah, so that's kind of been my experience. Obviously, like, this is a very, like, short summary of all the beings that have come through me. I'm probably forgetting some. If you want more, like, thorough videos on each of these, comment that down below, if any of these interest you. Some of them, like I said, I've only interacted with once or twice. Some, like, have been really intense experiences. So yeah, so if you have questions for the Galactic Council of Light, comment those down below. If you want more information on what I'm talking about, comment that down below. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, this was kind of a random video. I just felt inspired. I feel like I need to fix my tapestry. Thank you so much for watching. It's been really lovely, and it's been a really lovely response on my anniversary video. Yeah, well, I think I'm gonna go now. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the like button and hit subscribe if you have not already. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you would like to check out my other social media, the links to that are in the description down below. I have my Etsy shop where I do personal readings, personal tarot readings, and I just added a whole bunch of new items to my shop, so I'm really, really excited about that. I have a animal spirit guide reading now. I have a relationship reading specifically, and I have an Ascended Masters reading, and then along with my general readings and all of that, and my Skype sessions. So if you are interested in that, definitely go check that out. I also have some other cool stuff on there as well, just to assist with the soul journey. I have my other social media platforms, and then I do have my Patreon, which I started ages ago, and then I kind of like stopped using, and then someone found it the other day, and I was like, and actually became a patron, like my first patron, like, hi Ayden. And I was like, oh, I guess abundance is flowing from all directions now that I've opened that up. So that's now available if you'd like to become one of my patrons to help me continue my channel. It's been really exciting. So thank you, Ayden, for being my one patron. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching. And yeah, you are magic. And thank you for listening and seeing me. And that's Turtle. Lily girl. Hi, baby. Oh, she's so beautiful. Are you the most beautiful queen ever? Yes, yes. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have dinner and hang out with myself. Let's be real, I'm never alone. I live with like 50,000 cats, and I'm also psychic, so. Yeah. Lily, come here, you wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? Oh, Isis! You guys can say Isis first. Come here. Come here, baby. Isis. Yeah, I know, Lily's right here, but come here. Come here, Isis. Lily, don't be mean. Isis, come here. Really? You're gonna be difficult? She's being difficult. Look, it's a Lily. Her name's Lilith. Oh, there she is. Oh, it's my Isis. It's my Isis. If you guys saw my feline... No, see, she doesn't like the camera. If you guys saw my feline council video, she was the one who was hanging out with me during that. My most recent one. Alright, bye. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. You're amazing. You're beautiful. Much love. Many blessings. Namaste. And don't forget, it is all about the soul journey.